Before the Starforge became a $100 trillion empire, it was a ghost facility in the Outer Rim, built by one entity. In the late 70s, classified corporate funding began pouring into Sector 9, defying all interstellar treaties. They thought they were hiring a manager. They didn't realize they had just handed the keys to an absolute tyrant. Thousands of engineers and miners were shipped to Sector 9 under false contracts. They thought they were building a future, but they were only building his fortress. Every movement was monitored. Every transmission was screened. On October 14, 1977, the central mainframe went completely dark. The control was officially transferred. The first fleet of deep space harvesters arrived, tearing open the asteroid's crust to feed the insatiable factory cores. Lord Cacao rewrote the facility laws overnight. Labor shifts were doubled. Communication with Earth was permanently severed. They drilled deeper than any corporate entity had ever dared, reaching into the absolute dead zone of the asteroid. And that's when the drills hit something that wasn't on any geological map. The first veins of hyperfluid. While the corporate board debated the safety risks, Lord Cacao silently claimed the discovery entirely for himself. Automated security protocols were deployed across all mining subsectors. The workers were no longer just employees. Every log mentioning the purple fluid was instantly scrubbed from the earthbound servers. The omitted file was from his obsidian throne room. Lord Cacao issued a final warning to the crew: complete absolute silence or total termination. Massive extraction arrays were built directly over the core veins, pumping millions of gallons of the raw, volatile fluid into the main grid. Back on Earth, the corporate executives realized they had lost complete control of the facility. Panic began to spread through the boardroom. Sector 9 was now a ghost zone, an isolated kingdom floating in the black void, completely detached from human civilization. The foundation of the conspiracy was complete. Act 2 was about to begin, and the galaxy was completely unprepared. The hyperfluid anomalies. By November 1977, the extraction rates reached maximum capacity, and the side effects began. Lord Cacao personally supervised the refinement process, ignoring every structural anomaly reported by the automated core computers. The substance didn't obey standard physics. In its refined state, it altered the local gravitational field around the containment blocks.
The crew began experiencing severe neurological disruptions. Whispers spread of temporal shifts inside the lower mining sublevels.
Digital archives corrupted spontaneously. It was as if the hyperfluid was actively erasing its own data footprint from the system. But for Lord Cacao, these catastrophic malfunctions weren't a crisis. They were the ultimate confirmation of absolute cosmic power. On November 22nd, Containment Block 9 suffered a structural fracture. The raw energy was unleashed into the main ventilation shafts. Gravity completely inverted across 3 major subsectors. The facility's life support networks began to rapidly break down. Instead of evacuating the personnel, the Central Command issued an immediate and total lock sector directive. Lord Cacao isolated the entire affected crew inside the lower grid. No one was allowed to cross the quarantine borders. Those who survived the initial exposure began to exhibit strange symptoms. Their biology was adapting to the alien atmosphere. Sector 9 was wiped from the navigation maps. To the rest of the galaxy, these levels no longer existed. The hyperfluid was forming a sentient network within the machinery, rewriting the very programming of the mining arrays. Lord Cacao recorded every mutation, cataloging the fluid's properties as the foundation for a new, unstoppable black market weapon. The Starforge was breathing. The cosmic refinery was turning into a living, transforming titan in the dark.
In late December, an unauthorized emergency distress signal escaped the facility, intercepted by a rogue transmission post on Earth.
The leaked logs contained undeniable proof of the anomaly. The secret was slipping out of Lord Cacao's absolute control.
But the Overlord had a definitive response for those who opposed him. Act 3. The silent operation was about to unfold.
The silent operation. As the intercepted transmission reached Earth, the facility went into an automated containment protocol.
Lord Cacao deployed automated trace networks to identify the source of the data breach. He tolerated zero defiance. Sector 9 patrol units were reassigned to the mainframe borders, cutting off the internal communication loops. Every mining terminal was locked remotely. The rogue technicians were trapped inside their own monitoring stations. Enforcers patrolled the grid, executing the supreme directive to secure all hyperfluid documentation.
From the central hub, Lord Cacao watched the containment unfold, completely unfazed by the growing panic below.
At exactly 0200 hours, the external broadcast arrays were deactivated. The Starforge went completely dark. The crew realized Earth was no longer listening. They were entirely isolated, deep within the tyrant's domain. Every storage grid containing the refined substance blueprints was transitioned into an isolated system protocol. Lord Cacao had spent decades designing this trap. He knew exactly who had initiated the leak. The physical data records were gathered and transferred to a hidden vault known only to the Supreme Commander. Sublevel 7 was permanently flooded with containment gas. Securing the final extraction blueprints, absolute compliance was established across the remaining operational grids. The internal resistance was neutralized. With the perimeter secure, Lord Cacao prepared his final transmission to the corporate board on Earth. A powerful localized jamming signal was activated, ensuring no further data could ever escape Sector 9. The facility was now an impenetrable fortress, locked away from the interstellar network. The original logs of the operation were sealed. The corporate elite on Earth were left completely in the dark.
The internal lockdown was complete, but on Earth, the countdown to retaliation had already begun. Act 4 was next.
Act 4, Earth's extortion. The data leak didn't spark a liberation. Instead, it triggered the most massive blackmail operation in human history. Lord Cacao held the ultimate leverage. With 80% of the solar system's rare materials under his control, he dictated the global market value. On December 28th, a private message was delivered to the central banking cartel. The terms were simple.
A minor adjustment in Sector 9's supply chain instantly devalued Earth's primary fiat currencies by 12% in an hour.
He didn't need to deploy infantry. The threat of total economic collapse was more effective than any standing army. Earth's central leaders chose to protect the market status quo. They agreed to bury the Sector 9 atrocities permanently. Billions in unmarked gold reserves were redirected to offshore holding networks, all authorized under deep corporate classification codes. Lord Cacao watched the global market stabilization from across the void. The planet's rulers had become his administrative subordinates. The Starforge Indemnity Treaty was officially finalized. The monopoly was now fully protected under global jurisdiction. Terrestrial enforcement divisions were instructed to stand down. Investigation initiatives into Outer Rim activities were officially terminated. With no regulatory threats remaining, the Supreme Commander expanded the extraction arrays to include the deepest subterranean veins.
Public information streams regarding the Outer Rim facilities were entirely replaced with corporate propaganda and diversionary broadcasts.
Lord Cacao had achieved absolute isolation for his empire. Earth was content with the wealth, and he was content with the void.
Mass shipments of the stabilized element began moving along secret trade routes, bypassing all public customs blocks. The public index codes for Sector 9 were completely deleted from the central terrestrial libraries. The history was rewritten. The extortion operation was seamlessly executed. The corporate board remained silent, and the Supreme Commander remained absolute.
The global economy was now under his thumb. But the final phase was yet to come. Act 5, the ultimate protocol,
Act
was
5,
next.
the ultimate protocol. With global compliance secured, Lord Cacao initiated the final phase of his master network isolation.
The central mainframe was disconnected from all external auxiliary networks. The digital drawbridge was officially
Automation
raised.
code completely overrode manual terminal inputs. The operational infrastructure was now entirely self-contained.
The remaining engineers realized the truth. There was no rescue fleet. They were now permanent parts of the machine.
Stabilization compounds were deployed into the main ventilation grids, neutralizing any remaining unsanctioned communications.
He walked through the facility as its unchallenged absolute ruler, a dictator who had successfully detached his kingdom from the civilized
At
galaxy.
1300 hours, the final tracking handshake signal with Earth failed. Sector 9 became a silent void.
The core extraction records were deposited into deep storage vaults, secure from any potential intelligence retrieval.
The energy grids surged with maximum capacity. The refined substance was now running every mechanical system. He looked out over an automated empire that required no external supply chains. He had built total independence.
External defensive grids transitioned into automated engage parameters. Unauthorized approach was now met with immediate response. On Earth, monitors blinked out. Sector 9 had vanished entirely from global tracking arrays.
The files were closed. The contract was finalized. The $100 trillion monopoly was untouchable.
A ghost empire, floating in the dark, operating under laws rewritten by a tyrant. The Origin Archive's declassification sequence terminates here. The true extent of the operation remains hidden, but whispers continue to leak from Sector 9. The nightmare hasn't ended. It's simply waiting.
Sector 9 has locked down, but something far worse just woke up in the lower mantle. The Central Cartel doesn't want you to see the next tape. But we are already bypassing their shield. Tap the terminal node on your screen to authorize your clearance and unlock Episode 3 before our signal is permanently intercepted.